Alright, how you guys doing? This is Josh here with Ohio Fish Rescue. So, a couple weeks back, you guys got the whole relaxing with the 3,000 and the 4,000 gallon tank. So I'm just gonna take you through another one of those videos, but of the 1,000 gallon this time. So in this tank, I'm going to start with some of the most obvious, some of the favorites here. We've got 3 of these fire eels. I'm not even going to pretend I know how to pronounce the Latin name for them. But there's 3 of them in here. This is one of the smaller of the 3. But as you guys can see, they're pretty personable. He comes right up to the camera. They're, you know, camera hogs here. There goes one there. There goes a bigger one there. And the largest one is back there. Now, right here, same family. This is a tire track eel. Now we have 3 of them in here. This is the second biggest. And then we have, you can't really see him, but he's hiding behind that log back there with his little buddy. And then back there, oh, there goes the 3rd tire track. Now we have a black spotted in here somewhere. He's all tan with black spots. He's probably behind that log right now. So if you guys remember, we redid this decoration in the 1,000. We did take out, you know, some of the driftwood, but we added in some bigger pieces that allowed for more hiding. So you've got, you know, eel here, eel there, eel under here. They're all on top of each other, thinking they're hiding, but they're actually out on display. Over here, we've got the African tiger scat. Now, this is supposed to be a strictly saltwater fish, but when we picked him up, he was already converted to freshwater, so we kept him in freshwater. They actually can live in freshwater, brackish, or salt. Just depends on how they were brought up as a juvenile. Now, there are times you can convert them when they are, you know, larger size. You can convert them from saltwater to freshwater. I highly advise against it because, you know, that can hurt the fish internally. You know, their organs can have, there can be effects on their organs, and they can just have negative effects on their health. So I wouldn't advise doing that. And under here, this is a clown loach. You know, we've talked about them for quite some time. These guys do actually have barbs that stick out of the side of their mouth that they only pop out when they feel threatened. I didn't learn this until after, you know, 10, 12 years in the hobby. I've had some 12, 14-inch clown loaches, and I'm sitting there moving them, and one stabs me. I've never known it to happen. And ever since then, it's been happening more and more as the time goes on. I even see the little small clown loaches doing it. But we've got 4 of them in here. We've got one little small guy over here. Now, they do like to sleep on their sides. Most people think that they're dead, or, you know, there's a dead fish in OFR's tank. But no, they just like to sleep on their sides. Now we've got 2 more hiding back there underneath the driftwood. Alrighty, then we'll come up top here. We have, this is a Borneo archer fish, and these guys can actually get up to 12 inches long. This guy here is probably about 9 inch, I'd say. I'm not really too sure on that because I can't get them down by these tiles. You can see each tile here is 12 inches long, so just guesstimating he's about 9 inches. But the real neat thing about these guys is if you actually put them in a tank where you can feed them up from above, you can actually tongue feed them and, you know, feed them crickets and stuff, and they'll actually shoot the water out of their mouth and try and get the bug off of your tongs or out of plants or trees and stuff like that. But this is another fish that's supposed to be brackish water, but they came in and he was freshwater, so we went ahead and kept him to what he was used to. Then up here we've got the trio of pink kissing gouramis. Now, these are a common community fish you see at your local pet stores. You know, they're just a few dollars, but they can get up to, you know, 12, 14 inches long. They are in the gourami family, but they are completely harmless. Over here we've got, he's a little fast, so I'm going to do this a little quick here. This is the Bricon Dentex. He is in the Dorado family, and these barbs aren't really liking him right now. But he's basically a red fin Dorado, if you want to think of him like that. But he'll only get about 15 inches long max. So he's a great predator fish for, you know, people with smaller predator aquariums. They are fierce, they are fast, and they can, you know, handle themselves. Over here, this little guy right there is a Messier. Now this is a gold variant of the Messier. They grow super slow. You know, they're known for being in the waters of India. Some of the true monster Messiers can get over 5 foot long. And they are lightning fast, and they can jump very, very high. This guy right here is another Asian barb that you don't really see too often. This is a mad barb or a cigar barb. I don't know the Latin name off the top of my head, but he is a barb. He'll get about, you know, 2 foot long. They'll balloon up to the size of a softball, and they are super great jumpers as well. I know this because years of experience. We've had them jump through lids of that 4,000 gallon aquarium over there, and luckily we were out here and he landed on the floor. We were able to put him back in the tank, and we now keep weights on our lids with these guys. Up here, you know, it's weighed down by this black canopy, and there's no way for them to get out. All the holes are sealed up for the eels. We've got plates over them. We've got bottles of medication or jugs of water up there to hold down on the lids if we need to. Next fish, this guy right here is flagtail Procchiatus. We have 2 of these. Now there are a few variants of these guys. You can get orange tails, yellow tails, red tails. And they are a great community fish, but you have to watch out with these guys. They can suck the slime layer right off of certain fish. So you got to make sure you're watching them and make sure they're not sucking slime. We've gotten lucky with a lot of our flagtails, and we're able to keep them in community tanks, and they do a great job at cleaning up algae off your windows. We were having to clean this tank, you know, once every 2 weeks because we get this biofilm on it, and ever since putting all these community fish in here, that you just see the flagtails coming up to the window and eating all the biofilm off. So it takes a lot of the maintenance off of this tank. Unlike that beast over there, have to get in there and wipe it down every couple weeks or so. It gets pretty bad in there. We don't have nothing in there that actually likes to eat the biofilm. So we'll move on to this guy here. This is a Bala shark. These are your common community tricolor sharks, Bala sharks, whatever you want to call them. But these guys can get up to, what was our biggest one, 16 inch?
16 inch, yeah.
Yep, so I speak off of, you know, experience and not what the internet tells us. So, you know, we've had all these fish. You know, the internet might say a fish can get up to 12 inches. Well, like, for example, let's look at these wide bar Schimberke right here. So these guys right here are a wide bar silver dollar, also known as a blue hook. And, you know, online it says their max size is 10 inches. Well, we know that to be a fallacy because we had a shoal of these guys. We had 12 of them in the 4,000, and they probably lived with us for 12 years, and we had already gotten them at a large size of about 8 inches or so. And they actually grew up to be around 15, 16 inches was actually the biggest. And people actually mistook them for pacu all the time because they were so fat and they kind of look like they are a pacu. Alrighty, let's move on to this guy right here. Of course, we've got the iridescent sharks in here. Can't get away from them if you are a monster fish keeper. This guy's name is Cecil. My dad rescued him from Long Island, I believe. Somewhere over there, possibly New Jersey, Rhode Island, Maryland. He went on a big rescue out there. I can't remember off the top of my head. He stepped away, so I can't ask him right now. Let's get into all the different silver dollars. So I already talked about the wide bar silver dollars. We've got these thin bar red hooks. So a lot of these are actually babies that we had from our silver dollars in the 4400. So all these thin bar hooks are actually babies that we've bred. but there are a few oddballs in here that we've picked up along the way, like this blackberry silver dollar came from our buddy Jeff. This tiger silver dollar I picked up somewhere along the way. And then you've got some common, you know, spotted silver dollars there. And then let me see. They're in here somewhere. There's orange spot and green spot silver dollars. It's kind of hard to find them on camera right now. But yeah, there's just a big group of silver dollars in here. Of course, we've got jelly bean parrot cichlids. Now, you guys will see these in all different colors: blues, purples, greens, reds, whatever you want to put it, but their natural color is this color here or this deep red color right there. Now, if you see any other color, they are actually a dyed fish, and even if you see them, they might be purple. They're actually dyed when at a young age, and then the colors actually recede through time. So you might get it purple when it's a baby, but as it grows up, the purple fades and you'll wind back up to this yellowish or red base color like these guys here. Let's look at these guys here. This is albino tinfoil barbs. Now these are just, you know, your run of the litter tinfoil barbs. You've got albinos, you've got platinums now, you've got even long fins. We don't have any of them here, but they are available. This guy right here, many people mistake this as a Florida gar, which, I mean, it kind of does look like a Florida gar, but a true gar enthusiast would know this is a true spotted gar. You can tell by actually the size of the spotting. You've actually got spotting across his whole back. So you see that right there? And he's actually got spotting all over his snout and none on his underside of his belly. If you actually come over here and look at, say, a Florida gar, you can see how small the spotting is. They look actually a lot different than this true spotted gar. So maybe just a little lesson there for you in gar species. But what else can I show you in here? Oh, we got this guy back here. He is a red-tailed giant gourami. Now, usually normal gouramis, you know, your regular giant gouramis, they're actually pretty mean. But these red-tailed giant gouramis are actually a little bit more peaceful. They take forever to grow. We've actually had this guy for about 2 years now, and he's probably grown from 5 inches to, what is that, 12 possibly? 10 maybe? But I don't know, they just grow at an alarming slow rate, but as they mature, they get more red on their tails. Their scales will start turning red. I've even seen them to where their heads turn red. So we'll see how this guy actually turns out in the long run. Got this little tiny guy right here on the bottom. He is a golden Chinese algae eater. Now this guy does wonders for cleaning algae off the tank. Now most of the time these guys are pretty mean and can actually suck the slime off of your fish. But if you give him enough food to eat, you know, wood to chew on, he actually just cleans this tank pretty good and he leaves all the fish alone. But he's a neat little looking fish in here. Something just to add color to this 1,000-gallon community tank. Alright, now there's a few other fish in here that I want to show you. I gotta find them first. Oh, here we go. Back corner. This is an Ornate bicher. These guys can get up to 30 inches long. I actually have 2 of them in here. Oh, here goes the other one. This guy's a little bit bigger than the other one, but you guys can see they have that ornate, well, they're actually called an Ornate bicher, but they have an ornate sort of leopard pattern to them, and they're pretty neat looking if you ask me. Alright guys, so we're closing in towards the end of this video, but of course we've got this Pictus cat over here. Now this is supposed to be, you know, a community catfish, and they say they're not supposed to get big. This guy's probably 6 inches here now, but let me take you over to the 750 and show you a full-size Pictus cat that most people think they don't get big. So that right there is our vulture cat. He's probably 18 inches or so, but this guy right here is that same Pictus cat that you've just seen. you can see he's, you know, about 12, 13 inch. So they do get pretty big. So coming back over here to the 1,000 gallon, we've talked about just about everything, but this little guy right here, this is an Abermighty Headstander. The cool thing about these guys is they actually live up to their name. Most of the time you'll see them, they'll have their head and they'll just be standing up in the water like this, or even inverted, and they'll be like this and just swimming in the water. But these guys can get relatively big. I'd say about 10 inches or so. We had one that was about that size, and he did get old and pass away. But we still have this guy here. He's something neat to look at, just add to the whole feng shui of the 1,000 gallon community tank. And I know I've mentioned these guys earlier in the video, but these are a type of tetra. I forget the name off the top of my head, but I'm sure one of you guys will know. There's only 2 of these little guys in there, but they are feisty. I've tried catching them out before to take them up front to the front aquarium, and I just can't do it. They're too small, too fast. But I think that brings us to the end of relaxing and showcasing this 1,000 gallon aquarium. So I want to thank you guys for stopping by to relax with me a little bit. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know in the comments what's your favorite fish out of this aquarium. So as always, stay fishy, my friends.